Welcome to Pink Caddy Garage. Today we're going to be changing the oil and filter on this Powerstroke 6.0 diesel engine in my 2004 Ford Excursion. Now, the book says you're supposed to change the oil about every 5,000 miles, and I'd even went a little bit better than that. I had the dealership change it every 4,000 miles just to be on the safe side. But being a Powerstroke 6.0, it blew up anyway. This engine, though, has been going pretty well for the last 50,000 miles with the 4,000 mile oil changes. This is only the second time I've done it. It's not a bad job, so follow along and I'll show you how we do it. As far as tools go, first of all, you're going to need a nice blue moving blanket, my favorite tool. As far as real tools go, you're going to need a oil drain pan or some other container that holds at least 15 quarts of oil, which is what the Powerstroke 6.0 is rated for. And then hand tools, I've got a couple of ratchets here. This one I've got a big one because for our oil filter housing we're going to need a 36 millimeter, and for our oil drain pan bolt we're going to need a 19 millimeter, and then we're going to need a pick to get our O-rings off of the filter housing. As far as parts that we're going to need here, I do like to use a factory oil filter if I can find one, and this Motorcraft FL 2016 is easy to find, fortunately. That is about $17, and I like to use full synthetic oil, and this is going to take a 15W40 for the Dallas, Texas area. If you live really cold, you may need to use a lighter weight on that first number there. I ordered those online. About 4 gallons of oil for about $22 a gallon. If you're wondering why there's a Star Wars Lego Yoda here, it's because I ordered 4 gallons online, and instead of oil they sent me a Star Wars Lego Yoda. But then they took care of me pretty quickly, and then the next day all the rest of my oil showed up. Guess I'm going to have to give that back. Before we go draining any oil, we're going to want to go ahead and get our filter housing off, which on a 6.0 is pretty much right dead middle of the top of the motor. It's going to be this guy right here. So we're going to get our 36 millimeter socket on there and get that off so that any oil inside can drain down into the pan. The oil filter housing cap should not be on super tight, really under 20 foot-pounds of torque. You can get it started with your ratchet and then finish it off here. It's going to typically spring up just a little bit, which it did. We'll let that drain down for a few minutes and go underneath and drain out the oil from the pan. Crawling underneath here now, behind the front tire. This is going to be our oil pan, and that is going to be our drain bolt. So we're going to get a 19 millimeter socket on there and take that off and get our oil draining. We've got that loosened up. You can just take it off by hand. Let that drain plug drop straight down if you want. We'll get it later. Try not to get too much oil on yourself. It looks pretty black for only about 4,200 miles. While you're under here, go ahead and look around and just see if you've got anything leaking. This looks pretty dry. Last time I was under here, this pan was pretty oily on the back, and it turned out I had a valve cover bolt at the back of the engine that was leaking. So just take a few minutes and look around and see how everything looks. While we have the oil draining out of the pan, we can go ahead and finish up here. Get a towel or a rag or something so you don't drip oil across your engine. Work that guy off. Once we get that off, we're just going to want to pop this cap off, which takes a little bit of grunt. Dispose of that, and then we're going to want to get this O-ring off with our pick. I want to make a note of where this O-ring goes, which is going to be right here, so about a 1/4 inch from this lip down here. You just get your pick under there, work it under, and then pop that thing off and get your new O-ring. Going to want to try to get your new O-ring on without rolling it too much so that it's not twisted. Should be able to get it on there without a tool. Get it into the channel where your old O-ring was. And then we got plenty of oil to work with there. Just get a light coating of oil on the outside of that O-ring so it won't bind up when you reinstall your filter. Once that O-ring is on, then you're going to want to get your filter, which has a hole in one end, little caps on the other. That's what goes into our filter housing. Snap it in, and then go back under the hood to install it. To get your new filter on, just go over the spring. And once it's in, you're just going to make sure you've got free movement like that. Push it down, tighten it down as far as you can by hand, and then you're going to want to get your 36 millimeter. If you have a torque wrench, you go to about 18 to 20 foot-pounds. If not, then just get it snug and check for leaks when you're finished. Back underneath, once you get to a slow drip like this, you should be good to go ahead and get your drain plug back in. I'm going to run that up and then get your 19 millimeter socket on there and tighten that up to about 20 foot-pounds. 20 to 22 is the spec. On the passenger side of your engine, you're going to find your oil fill. Go ahead and put 15 quarts in, about 4 gallons, which is going to be about a quart extra. So I guess after 15 oil changes, I'll have enough leftover oil to do a whole nother oil change. Once you've got your oil in, your dipstick is going to be right over on the driver's side. You're going to want to check your level, which probably going to be a little full, which it is. It's about maybe a quarter inch over the max mark, which is fine because we haven't run the engine and put any oil up into our filter housing. So we'll do that right quick, give it a few minutes to drain back down, and check it again. So after letting it sit for about 5 minutes, our level is right there on the max line. So that's perfect at 15 quarts. Then you're just going to want to look around and make sure that you don't have any leaks underneath or around your oil filter housing. Now let's take a second and look at how much it saves to do it yourself. Last time I got this oil changed at a shop, it cost right at $160. And I'm pretty sure that I did not get full synthetic oil like we use today. So that $160 versus our cost for today, which were $88 for the oil and $17 for the filter. So we're right at about $105. So we saved about $55, got much better oil than we used last time. And hey, there's that Lego kit too. Thanks for watching.